So as you're trying to lead leadership, one of the other tactics that we want to share with you is that you want to plan in advance. So as a church creative, as a communications director, you want to make sure that you're the one that's leading the planning of this event promotion, the promotions of this event. So you want to make sure you're listening to the leadership, but then you're the one that's scheduling things out. You're looking in advance to see what needs to be done by when. You're setting deadlines, those type of things. So what you want to do is position yourself as the expert. So they have a vision, they have a goal, they have an event that they're putting on that they feel like is extremely important to them, and important to God. And you're there to help that become a reality and be as effective and as successful as it can be because of the way you're communicating that, the way you're promoting it. So whatever tools you have at your disposal, whether it's the website, videos, graphic design, print materials, social media, all those different things, you want to make sure that you're the one that's planning those things out, setting deadlines, saying, hey, here's what's needed by when, and here's what we're going to do to make sure that we get everything done on time. So plan in advance, set yourself up as the expert.
Yeah, one of the videos we recently recorded was on event promotions. And I think that that is a great video to refer back to. Michael does a great job of this, basically labeling out what event, and Michael, you can talk through this, like what events need priority over others. And the thing is, when you have that system in place, when your pastor comes with an idea, if you go back and watch that video, you're going to get a pretty much an outline of some of the different things that you could do depending on the tier that that event falls on, right? Um, but yeah, this idea of planning in advance, it's just again like that's what it means to really be an owner, right? You're proactive. You're not waiting to be told, or you're not waiting to be given ideas, right? So like if you're in a meeting and you guys are talking about an event and your leadership says, oh, they would love to have some merch to give out. Don't wait for a merch idea, right? Be proactive, right? If you have a theme or if you know what the pastor is trying to communicate, go find a verse, right? Go find a verse and find a t-shirt style and have that ready, right? Be proactive. And the best thing about today is now there's so many tools to help you plan, right? One of the tools that you can use to help you plan stuff is ChatGPT if you've never used it. One of the ways that you can use ChatGPT to plan events is you can tell it to just give you ideas. So, for example, if we were running down this idea of, your pastor said they want a T-shirt, you have a theme, put that theme idea and ask ChatGPT to give you various Bible verses, and then you can tell it to rephrase these Bible verses for a T-shirt design, right? So nowadays there are so many tools at our disposal to help us plan in advance much faster than before. We understand that your communication, you're a creative person, so time is not always on your side. Um, but the result of planning in advance is, again, I'm going to keep saying it for every single point, but trust and credibility, right? When people know that they can depend on you and they know that you can take action, right? Then you have more influence over them. So if we're talking about leadership, you want to come and you want to come with a plan. That's what I always did for my pastor. My pastor would say something. My pastor would have an idea. We would be in a team meeting. Within the next day or two, I will just have a whole note that I'll just share with him with just different ideas that we can do. Right. Again, I was proactive. Right. Again, not all of the ideas were a great idea, but based on what he said, going back to our previous point, I would come up with a plan. So we can do this, then we could do this, and we can do this. If this doesn't work, we could also consider doing this, right? When you're that type of person, they always want you in the room.
Yeah, so this idea of being the expert it's what you're talking about, but it's out of humility. It's out of a humble heart. Like you want to be the expert so you can add as much value to the conversation as possible. Like you're not pumping up your chest saying, "Hey, I'm the greatest." Like you got to do what I'm saying because I'm trained in this or whatever it is. It's out of humility. How do I serve you really, really well with my expertise? And then you're taking responsibility to be the expert. So one of the big things that we shared in that training that Dennis was referring to was that you're just taking ownership to know all the options. Hey, what are all the options that are available at our church to promote an event or to communicate an idea? Like, what are all the different things and then you come to the table having those options in your mind so that you can, as that church leader is talking and saying, here's what the vision is, here's what we'd like to accomplish. Maybe the goal is to get a huge attendance from the community to come to this event. So maybe like it's a harvest festival that the church is hosting on the property. And the goal is to get people in the community to come to the church and to raise awareness that the church exists and that the church is for them and has great things for their family. Okay. Now, with that in mind, you should come to the table as the expert saying, here's all the different ways we can do that. Like, here's the options we have as a church communications team to be able to do exactly that. So know your options. Also create the systems. Like, again, just be the expert to have the systems in place to then be able to communicate those ideas. What I mean by that is maybe on social media, you can use Instagram and Facebook, and maybe you have YouTube as one of your options as well. So, okay, how can I have maybe something on each of those channels to then be able to promote this event well? You might also know, hey, on your property, you've got these huge posters that are in the lobby. Maybe you have some posters above the urinals in the bathroom or in the stalls. Maybe you have a big banner that you can put out on the property out front, but you know all those options, and you know that, hey, based on the size of this event, what we're trying to accomplish, we should present all those options as well. And then maybe you know that based on the size of this event, we should take the time to create a video. Video usually takes a lot longer. There's more planning to it. But let's go ahead and put that in the hopper to say, hey, this is a big enough event where we should do like a video so that we can share it on social media, on YouTube, and also in the services to promote this event really well. So when you're serving and you're saying, hey, based on what you said, based on this event and who we're trying to reach, like, we should throw the kitchen sink at it. Here's what the kitchen sink looks like. Here's what I'd like to do. And here's how much time it would take to do it. And then all of a sudden, like, you're serving them really well to win at this event. You're also setting your team up. If you have a team of people, or if it's just you, that's fine. But you're setting yourself up for success, because now you have a checklist of like, here's everything we need to execute, and here's the dates when we need to get them done by. So now you can win. Like, you know how to win. Like, I think we've all been in the position where we're moving along, we think we're doing good, and then somebody comes along and they're like, hey, I would really like a video. And you're like, well, it's Wednesday, but the Sunday's
You're
coming.
not getting a video.
We've all been in that position, and it helps us when we are the expert, when we're serving well, we can get the video done well in advance to where nobody's stressed out. The team of volunteers that's helping you out, they're not sweating it. They love being a volunteer. They love being a part of your team. But if you can't do it, you can also say, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Like, we talked about this last month, and we were executing the list. And you know what? I love what you're doing. I love your passion, but we just can't do it because it wasn't part of that initial planning. And you get to say no without like being being a jerk about it or seeming like you're not on board with the vision of the church. I've actually been in meetings where the lead pastor of the church, like, this is a big church, big staff, and he was like, hey, I have this great idea, we should do this to promote the event. And I've actually been in the meetings where I'm like, actually, we're out of bandwidth. We can't do that. We would love to do it, but we can't do it. And that was respected in the room. It didn't come across as disrespectful. I know in church culture, like, that's a big thing. Like, we want to honor our leaders and honor the pastor and all that stuff. But it was honoring to the pastor because we're planning in advance, and we're serving them really well through that.
So good. And I think what the last thing I can add to that is, it's important in your planning to provide or think of an alternative, right? Because your idea might not be the idea, right? So one of the ways that you can serve your leadership very well is by providing an alternative. If not this, then we could potentially do this, right? Um, and that just gives your leadership options to choose from, right? And the more time that you spend in proximity to your leadership, you can already begin to know how they think, right? So maybe it's an idea that you think that they might not go for, but you really believe that they should go in that direction. Well, use that information to build up your case. And along with that, also provide an alternative,